First and foremost, I would like to call Dr. Om Manchanda, the Managing Director of LalPath Labs. Dr. O.P. Manchanda, graduate from the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad in 1990, is one of the path-breaking chief executive officers in the country. He has been rated as a person who has transformed LalPath Labs into the largest diagnostic medical services in the country. Having worked earlier in Hindustan Lever and Ranbaxy, and thereafter in LalPath Labs, he is also known as one of the person who is the highest paid CEOs in the country. What he earns in a month in crores is what a bureaucrat earns his entire lifetime. So I would request that he, being an icon of how education can transform one's life and how he has done a lot of good work for Assam during the COVID times, and he has been here during the COVID times and done a lot of work, I would request O.P. Manchanda to give his address for the Northeast.
Good morning, all of you. Can I hear that? Let's have a little energy. Good morning. Yes, yes. So I think what Kalyan probably didn't mention, that we are classmates as well from IIM Ahmedabad. In 1990, we graduated together from IMA. Thank you very much for having me here. Honorable Minister, senior government officials, ladies and gentlemen, and all the students here. My association with Northeast and probably Assam goes back in mid-90s when I used to work with Hindustan Unilever. I used to visit tea gardens and sit in Assam or Guwahati auction centers. And that's the time I got associated with Northeast and especially Assam. And then over a period of time, I changed my job and I joined Monsanto. They also had a product which was actually used in tea gardens. I used to visit tea gardens again. And then when I joined Dr. LalPath Labs in 2005, we put up our first lab in Guwahati in 2006. That was my, in a new avatar, I visited Guwahati. But I think what brought me very close to Guwahati or Assam was COVID, which is not a great thing, but I think the positive side effect of COVID was I made great friends in Assam. And I must congratulate Assam government, and then which is now Honorable Chief Minister was Health Minister, and Mr. Sameer Sinha. They were actually connected with me online that time when the lockdown was announced in March 2020. And being a largest diagnostic player, and I was at the helm of affairs, if some of you recall what we went through these 2 years, such a difficult time on testing, etc. And I must say, I think Assam came across one of the states which took a lot of initiative of making sure the testing happens. And what hit me that time was there was not even a single private lab in entire Northeast which was doing RT-PCR testing. And we were actually making all the efforts to make samples fly to Delhi, and that time testing centers were not too many. But I think with the help of the government, we put up our RT-PCR testing lab in Guwahati in a very quick span of time. So I think, thank God, COVID is behind us, hopefully, and we actually have a new beginning. As Dr. Kalyan mentioned, I head this India's largest diagnostic company. And he especially invited me to talk to you about and share my experience and talk a little bit about healthcare opportunities in India. And I did go through the agenda. I see that there's a special session on healthcare, which I think will throw more light on this than particularly my speech, but I still talk about that. So I think few things all of you should know, that healthcare is one sector which will never probably experience a slowdown, because wherever there is a life, there is a need for healthcare. Economies get impacted by a lot of factors, external factors, but healthcare is one sector which is insulated from many of these events that happen outside. So it's a very, very secure place to work for. Healthcare is a very vast sector which consists of pharmaceutical sector, it consists of medical devices, hospitals, and medical diagnostics. It's actually one of the largest sector. I'm just looking at the net and found out that probably the 5th largest employment sector in the country today. And it's one of the fastest growing. As the economy grows, as the healthcare awareness grows, healthcare is bound to grow. Education is also one sector like that. And just to brief you about our company, we are represented in diagnostic space. While there are a lot of players who are in hospitals and pharmaceutical, I'm sure they'll be talking to you, but I'm standing in front of all of you representing diagnostics. Now, diagnostics is right at the center. Does not involve any particular specialty. You will have a doctor who's a cardiologist, oncologist, but I think diagnostic as a sector is right at the center, serving all the specialities of healthcare. So technically the market size for diagnostics can be very, very large. It's not a very niche. The second thing is diagnostics is very routine test, like all of us know about sugar, thyroid, liver function tests, etc. It can also go into very high-end diagnostics like molecular, cytogenetics, etc., which is very, very specialized. Diagnostic is not only meant to diagnose a disease, which is what most of us understand, but it is also meant for managing the disease itself. You actually track the progression of the disease as you treat the patient. Now it's actually going further, where you use diagnostic tests for preventive, you also use for predictive, and some of you may be aware about genetics, etc. So diagnostics has become very, very vast field today, as we see, compared to what it used to be earlier. Now coming to especially the objective of today's session about employment opportunities or growth opportunities in this sector, there are broadly speaking three areas which I look at in diagnostics employment. Number one is, let's look at labs. We have close to about 275 plus labs in the country, and each lab has about close to 6 to 7 employees. And if I look at the profile of these people, you will see they do MD pathology after MBBS. That's one area, which to me is one lab equal to one doctor, while in some of our large labs you will have more than one as well. I think the largest number of force that we have inside the lab is technicians. Now these are the technicians who work on machines, and healthcare sector skill councils have a lot of courses revolving around this. There are courses which are BSc, MLT, which is medical lab technician. There are courses like diploma lab medical technicians. They are roughly about 2 years to 3 years, and all of you can get jobs working on these machines inside the lab. And I was talking to this morning before coming here to our doctors. Nowadays, a lot of these technicians can also get upgraded to very, very high-end specialty jobs like molecular diagnostics. So this is one area all of you can look at, and this will be ever-growing field, let me tell you that. The third area inside the lab is the person who actually draws blood sample. We call them phlebotomist, and you will be actually surprised that the largest number of growth of employees in diagnosis is coming from this particular area, which is phlebotomist. And during COVID times, what we noticed is that people who work inside the, people who are walking into the labs for blood collection has now moved to home collections. I'm sure some of you may have experienced that in Guwahati as well. So the home collections is the number of samples collected per phlebotomist in a home visit setting is much lower than when you collect inside a lab. So which essentially means the number of jobs are actually multiplying rapidly in the area of phlebotomy. Healthcare Sector Skill Council has a course which is a 6 months course. Under our CSR program also we are running many of such schools, and this is one area which I would recommend as a go-to place, especially after 12th class, or even I think after 10th also you can join these courses. And today you will not believe, including our collection centers, our 60% of the force would be phlebotomies. A company which has 5,000 employees and 5,000 collection centers, each collection center has one phlebotomist. Close to 60% people will have a phlebotomy requirement, or they are phlebotomists. I think this is one area which you should all look at. In addition to that, I'm sure a lot of people will talk about IT, HR, sales job, which are actually agnostic to sectors. I would encourage all of you to look at that. I think one area which you should definitely look at is digital, which is virtually invading all sectors, and this will open up a lot of employment in the area of digital. And wherever I actually go, that whole technology piece, digital piece is virtually has become part of every of our profession. So with that, I'll come to end of my speech. If you all have any questions to ask me either now or later offline, I'm available till lunch and to address your needs. Once again, I want to thank each one of you to be here, to give me time to listen to me, and also Dr. Kalyan especially, because being my friend, classmate, he requested me to come and speak to all of you. Thank you very much and have a good time.
Thank you very much for your advice, and we are noting down all these things, and we hope we'll carry that forward.
Can we have a round of applause from Dr. Om Manchanda, Managing Director of the LalPath Labs.